Welcome back to another episode of Mike's on the Mics. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great, Mike. How are you doing? I'm excited for this show.
Me too. This is going to be a fun one. We have some good topics to talk about. Happy leap year.
Happy leap year.
I don't know if people say happy leap year or not, but
sure,
it's a leap year. We're only going to do this show once every 4 years, so.
That's true. That is true. And everybody that's celebrating birthdays today.
Shout out to my buddy Steve. He's turning 10 years old today.
Yep, and 40 years he can drink again.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. Cheers to Steve.
How's your week been? What's new?
It's been good. Except Megan and I both got sick, but we're past that now. I think you said you were sick too.
I was sick too. Yeah, I thought it was going to take me out for a while, but
this weather's been bipolar. I mean, it was 70 a couple days ago. That was the day I was sick.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and then I wake up that morning to go to work at 60. I'm like, oh, this is nice. I'm not going, no jacket. I get out of work, I'm freezing my ass off. Like, what the actual F? I mean, this weather is bipolar. So, how was your week, Mike?
Yeah, same thing. I was sick, 24-hour bug. I thought it was going to take me out. I felt like crap. But, yeah, woke up the next day, good to go. Work's been good, no complaints.
That's good.
Baseball started last Saturday.
Yep.
We're not going to talk about that Saturday game, that 22-10 or whatever the final score was.
There's always going to be those.
It's
not about those.
But it's it's good to hear Dan Dickerson again. I was listening to the Tigers on the radio, and
he's a gem. He's
amazing.
Gem.
It was so awesome to listen to him. I was listening to that first game, and Andy Ibanez hit a home run, first home run of spring training for the Tigers, and I caught Dickerson's call on it.
Oh, did you?
And it just feeling just came over me of just like, all right, I can't wait to get this going.
Yes, for sure. Yep, I couldn't agree more. It's just good that baseball's back, and the weather is, even though it's been crazy, it's still turning. You know what I mean? And it feels good. It's
it's been fun to watch baseball being back on.
And we should have a team to watch this year. I think that helps too.
I think so.
Yeah.
I know one thing we want to do for the listeners every week is kind of give you a little short update on what's going on with spring training.
Yep.
As we progress to the regular season.
Yep.
We're only like 6 days in, so there's really not much to mention, but there are a couple things. We had Casey Mize came back, made his first appearance in over 2 years.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was literally April 2022 was when the last time he pitched.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that long
either, but all signs look good. Velocity was up to 97 miles per hour. The stat sheet might not look that good, but at this point, you're not looking for that. You're just looking for the velocity to be there, that he's, able to make his pitches. He relies heavily on that fastball and that killer slider. Or is it slider?
I think he's got a splitter too.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But he's got.
He said his command wasn't there, but the arm's looking good.
That'll
the
come.
Velocity, it's fine. It was just and he only threw for an inning and 2/3. So
like
overall, we'll be fine.
Totally good with that.
Yep. He'll be fine.
Yep.
Who has Colt Keith?
He's been getting a lot of at bats in those first 3 games, and I think that makes sense. And he's had a few hits. He had a double.
He had 2 doubles and 4 RBIs, and he's only played 3 games.
Yeah.
Out of so far. Well,
that's a good sign.
I thought that was pretty good.
Very good sign.
After last week, I talk about I'm super excited to see Kerry Carpenter, and the next day after we record this, he goes down with an injury. But it looks like he's coming back. He'll be okay.
Yeah. Just hopefully those hamstring issues. Hopefully it's nothing, and it just needs to be worked out. Hopefully it's something that lingers, man, because we need him.
Yeah.
100%.
Schoolboy had his first outing. He looked pretty good.
Yep. Yeah, he was throwing with.
He touched 99.
Yeah, and I've heard throughout all camp that he's been hitting 100 miles per hour occasionally on the gun. He was averaging 97.5 miles per hour with his fastball. That's your stud. That's your stud moving forward. Keep this guy healthy. Just keep him in a good routine. Don't overdo it. And I think you got your ace potential Cy Young. Maybe not like he should be in the running. I feel like he's got that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's definitely going to be the ace. I don't see anyone taking that from him.
Yep.
But it would be nice to see some competition because that means our rotation is doing what they're supposed to be doing. We're going to have a good one. So
yeah, another notable mention too. Matt Manning had a good outing from what I saw. He pitched a few innings, no issues there. He looked good, and I think he's going to be your 2 or 3 guy eventually, and that's a plus.
Yeah.
They got they're good. They should be good.
Yeah. And like I said, not a lot to report. I pulled up the stat sheets today after today's game. The most at bats so far is 12 for any player on the team. So again, we can't read into any of this, but just a quick update. Things seem to be going, decently well. Everyone's getting out there, getting their getting their arms ready, getting their bat swings in. Baez 0 hits in spring training. I just want to call that out. That sucks, but he's got to get it together.
Put your wiffle ball bat away. And that's, you know what I mean? Come on.
As far as national news go in the MLB, nothing crazy. Cody Bellinger signed a deal with the Cubs, so that's off the table for the Tigers doing anything.
Wow, that's the first I'm hearing about this. That's crazy.
Yeah,
okay.
he's going back to the Cubs.
Okay, interesting.
2 or 3 year deal, I think. I don't remember what it was, but yeah. So he's one of the top free agents off the table now.
Okay.
So still got Matt Chapman out there. Maybe the Tigers call him, maybe they don't. Who knows? We'll see what happens. That's for another day.
From here until the obviously opening day is gonna be really interesting to see if what happens with roster moves, who gets sent up, who gets sent down, who they sign out of free agency. This is gonna be it's fun to watch this stuff. I know it's not with spring training, it's not necessarily focusing on the wins and losses or the scores. It's just making sure. Or seeing who's still on the roster, who's maintaining their position, who's playing well, and who they sign. So.
Yeah, I mean, I could really care less if they went 0-30 or however many games they play. It doesn't really matter.
For sure.
I just want everyone to come out healthy and get their work in and be opening day ready.
Absolutely.
So something we want to start doing, Cuz and I. Oh, I called you. So I guess I should probably explain this
because it might slip out another time.
It's gonna happen. It's weird calling you Mike. So for a lot of listeners, they may know why we call him Cuz. He's always been introduced to me as Cuz. I know him and his family and all the cousins, they call each other Cuz. But when I met Mike, he was introduced to me as Cuz. So it's kind of been his nickname. It sticks with it. So if you hear me call him Cuz, that's just because it's really weird calling him Mike.
And that started from my cousin Sal, who's really close with Mike. That's how I met Mike, was through my cousin Sal, and Sal and I call each other Cuz, because we're cousins. But so that's just how that nickname started, and so you might hear that slip out, and
it's gonna happen. That's funny, really funny is the first time that you brought Megan over to meet Amber and I. We all went out to dinner. We were calling you Cuz, and I remember there was at one point at the night when she was like, "Are you guys calling him Cuz? What is going on with this?" And so we give her the whole story, and she's like, I can't do that. I can't call him Cuz." And then there was another time where, because there's also like 4 or 5 mics if you bring the dads around the group. There's about 4 or 5 mics in the group, so we all have little nicknames or whatever. But we
have to maintain a certain amount of mics in our circle at all times.
But back to Megan, it was funny. We were all at a party one time, and she was looking for you, and she's walking around, and she was telling us, she's like, "I'm looking for Mike, and we're like, who?" She goes, "Cuz." Like, "Oh, he's over here."
Well, how about
you really got to specify what Mike you're talking about?
Well, how about on this? Was it when I played with you or with the last softball team I played with? Like, somebody called me Mike, and they're looking like, huh?
Oh, that was you and I played on the work team I had.
Yes. They're like, I had no idea your name was Mike. I'm like, yeah.
The one guy came was like, what's his actual name? You were in the lineup as Cuz, because that was just your name. You got introduced to everybody as Cuz.
Yep.
I didn't even think about telling them your real name.
Yep.
So, anyways, you're going to hear me call him Cuz, and that's just...
that's how it's going to go.
That's what it is. We have to find a way to tell the difference between everybody.
For sure.
But anyways, what we were doing, we want to do this around the D.
Yes.
We're going to talk about what's going on around the D with our other sports teams.
Yep.
And I think we start right away with the Red Wings.
Yeah.
We got them on the TV in the background with the pregame, getting ready for tonight's game.
Yep, they're about to start in about 20 minutes, I think. Puck's about to drop.
They are on a 6-game winning streak.
Yep.
This is fun. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's awesome because it seems like, and look, we're not hockey experts, but it is fun to pick the brains of people who really watch the sport and figure, I'm like, okay, well, what are you seeing with this Wings team? And for one, it seems like they got 4 lines that can score. They have a goaltender that's playing really well right now, and I mean, you have some really good players in the team. I mean, Patrick Kane, DeBrincat, Larkin, these guys are all playing really well together.
I mean, them signing Patrick Kane, that was awesome. And did you see the game earlier or late last week, whenever against Chicago?
Oh,
he went home, scores a breakaway game-winning goal.
You couldn't script that any better.
No. And Chicago welcomed him back very nicely, too, which I thought was cool. And then to go and get the game-winning goal was phenomenal.
Did you see who else they honored that game, too? It was Chelios.
Really?
Yeah, they honored Chelios.
I didn't know that.
Too.
Yeah,
and that's just funny how both those guys have both played on both teams. They're both Hall of Famers.
They hate each other. Both teams hate each other.
Yeah.
So it's really
it was cool
fun
to see the love.
Exactly.
Because they were giving him a lot of love. I know Chicago's no good right now, but the Wings are fighting for it. And, at this point right now, they got the first wild card spot with 72 points. They're 2 points behind the Maple Leafs for the third in the division, and
the Maple Leafs just lost the other night, so this is good. Let's keep it rolling. This is a big game
tonight.
I was digging into this winning streak, and they haven't had a 6-game winning streak until 2019, or since 2019, right after Yzerman signed on. Yeah.
Okay.
And then tonight they're going for 7 games in a row against the Islanders. They should be able to get this done. Yep. They haven't done that in a dozen years.
Is it?
2012 was the last time they had a 7-game winning streak.
No kidding.
So hopefully by the time everybody's listening to this tomorrow, we'll be celebrating 7-game winning streak. But it's fun. It's fun to get the Wings back. I was always a Wings fan growing up, and when you put a bad product out there on the ice, or like the Pistons are doing on the court, or the Tigers have done for so many years, their lines, it's hard to get engaged with them when the product just isn't there. But they're back. Yzerman's doing a great job.
Yeah.
I think we're headed in the right direction with the Wings team. And again, like you said, we're not hockey experts, but
yes,
we're getting there.
It's something to be excited for, because it looks like the team, from what people have telling me and what I'm hearing from people, and kind of just looking from the bird's eye view, I guess, is the team has a lot of depth. And I think when you have a lot of depth, that has a recipe for long-term success, and I think that can be exciting.
And it's been a while since we've been in this situation with the Red Wings, so it's really fun.
For sure. Yeah, we're going to get more.
We're watching some of the games lately, and it's really fun.
They're a very fun team to watch. It'll be fun to watch.
I saw this.
Awesome.
There's nothing like playoff hockey.
No.
It's so much fun. So it'd be really nice to get back in there, because definitely want to see that. I saw a quote today from Sider, and he said part of the quote was, being chased is a lot cooler, I think, than chasing. And that kind of stuck out to me, because I feel like over the last few years, and even more than that, all of our team, we're always chasing. Right?
Yeah.
Wings we're always fighting from behind. And now they're still just a wild card team, but they're a target.
Yeah.
Right? And that is so much better than
for sure,
than having to chase after and always falling behind. Now teams are trying to catch up to you, and that's what is fun to see right now with the Red Wings.
That speaks to the confidence of the team and how well they're gelling and stuff, and that can really carry you. So that's exciting to hear.
So this leap year, the Wings are in the wild card.
I was gonna say, you have a leap year fun fact.
Yes, I do. Really so I got a couple here before I get to that. But last leap year, in 2020, the Red Wings on this date were dead last in the NHL. So 4 years later, making a playoff push.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty good.
That's awesome.
And before I get to my fun fact, I do want to bring this up, because did you see the Red Wings' new sponsor that's going on the jersey?
Priority Waste.
Waste Management. Really, that's what we're on, this winning streak, and you're gonna go put a dumpster on their jersey. Yeah. Now it will read Priority. Priority is the actual sponsor. They're like the head of the Waste Management. But really, that should really be on the Pistons jerseys. They should have the dumpster on there. So I just thought that was kind of comical that really we're going to go with
it's such a
dumpster
beautiful
company.
Jersey too. You know what I mean? It's so iconic, that winged wheel. They haven't touched it, and
I don't like any of these sponsors going on any of the jerseys.
Yeah.
Even like baseball, they put the Nike swoosh on the jersey.
Yeah, right.
A couple years ago, I hated that, and that was just the Nike swoosh.
Yeah. Problem is, I think we got to get used to it. I mean, look what they do in soccer. You know what I mean? You don't even know what team they play for, because the logos are so big.
But we've always had these iconic.
I know.
Crisp D,
I know.
The winged wheel.
I'm not saying I'm good with it. I totally agree. It's just.
I just thought it was funny. I wanted to bring that up. That now we have a dumpster sponsor, but that's all right. That's not going to. The cool thing is, it's a local company.
Okay. All right.
They're based right out of Clinton Township. So
all right.
if you got to spin it any way you want, that's a good way. But I do have a fun fact for everybody. I went down a rabbit hole looking for fun leap year facts about Detroit sports, and I only came across one. There's a bunch about national, but we're here talking Detroit sports.
Yeah.
February 29th, 1980, Gordie Howe scored his 800th goal. He was the first person to score 800.
Wow.
Obviously, we know that got passed up by Gretzky down the way, but on leap year, scored his 800th goal. The other thing about Gordie Howe that this is where I really went further is he did that at 51 years old. Only player in NHL history to score a goal at 50 years or older.
Wow.
Now, what I really didn't know, and a lot of people may know this and I didn't, was that he was not in a Red Wings jersey for that goal.
Right.
He was on the Hartford Whalers.
Okay.
That took me down another little rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So he retired from the Wings in 1971. And this is common knowledge. Everybody knows that, right?
Okay.
But 2 years later after his retirement, he went and joined the WHA Houston Aeros. And he did this to go play with his two sons. I love stories of father and sons playing.
Yeah.
It's always cool. Griffey Jr.
Right.
The Ripkins. I mean, it's just so much fun to see the father and sons play together.
Yeah.
During that time, he had 2 years. He played 6 years on that team. He had 2 years of 100 points or more.
Wow.
In his 40s.
Yeah.
It's insane. In 1979, the WHA folded and kind of merged with the NHL, where they became the Hartford Whalers.
Okay.
And this I thought was really cool. Is technically at that time, even though he's 8 years out of retirement, the Red Wings still had the rights to Gordie Howe.
No kidding.
But they made a gentleman's agreement with the Hartford Whalers to not sign him or claim him off waivers at the time.
Yeah.
And he went on to play with the Whalers for that one season, scores 800 goal, and then retired at the age of 52.
Wow.
And I just thought that was really interesting.
It's fascinating.
People may know that. I didn't know that. I thought I would share that with you.
Yeah. The whole Gordie Howe thing and him playing up until as long as he did, I'm not a hockey history buff, but that was always kind of an enigma to me, and then now that kind of fills that gap. You know what
Absolutely,
I mean? That's really, really cool.
And I'm the same way. I'm not the historical information.
But you did some digging, man. That's awesome.
I couldn't stop reading. It was just like, whoa, I didn't know this. I didn't know this.
That's fascinating, and that just kind of goes with the whole with Gordie Howe. I mean, that's just absolutely amazing.
So yeah, there's your fun fact
That's
for
a good
leap
one.
year.
That was a good one.
I mean, I think we'll start adding in some fun facts as we continue to go, because that was pretty cool doing the research and just keep digging and digging. At first, it was just going to be his 800 goal.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm going down all these different holes, and
that's what's great about sports, man. There's always something fun to uncover the further you dig. So
the other team we have to talk about, which the dumpster should be on their jersey, would be the Detroit Pistons. And we talked about this before, and I said it's not even worth our time.
Yeah.
But, they're bad. Surprisingly, they're tied for the worst record in the NBA.
Hey, they're not quite the worst. They did win their last game.
They did win, yes. The Wizards also have
They beat the Bulls.
What are they, 9 and 49 record, yeah. And when I saw that they were not...
Come on, lottery pick.
Seriously. Last time the Pistons had a winning season was in the 2015-16 season. So we're going on 9 years. This is just... I don't even know what to say, but I think that's all we need to say about the Pistons, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing to report. That the whole thing from top to bottom just stinks. It sucks.
Yeah.
What else can you say? It really sucks. So
we have no news on the Lions. We'll just get that out of the way. Everything is still in limbo right now. We gotta wait till March. I think it's 13th till free agency. So nothing going on there.
Yeah.
But there is college basketball going on.
Yeah.
So we have U of M.
Yeah, they. I mean, I guess pretty much with U of M hoops, it's just like, okay, when does football start? Because
absolutely,
like the Pistons, they're last in their conference, 3-14. I don't know. I think they've lost. I should know this. I think they've lost 7 or 8 in a row.
Ooh, I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, they're 8-20 overall. I guess the question is really, does Howard get another season? And I got to be honest, I think that experiment is done. It's time to move on. The wheels are coming off.
Yeah, I think it's time to move on, and it goes beyond just having a bad season. I mean, he's been suspended a few times. He's causing trouble.
Yeah, there's riffraff going on within the program.
Right,
like with him and a strength coach or something like that, and it's just like, okay, you don't need that,
and you're not winning. You're not having a good season.
No,
there's sometimes you can look past that.
Right.
I mean,
like their football coach.
I was just gonna say, look at the football team.
Yeah.
But you're bad. You're causing trouble. You're getting in trouble. Right, over the past couple years. I think it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know much about Michigan basketball or follow college basketball that much, but
I
don't know who will replace
him.
But they're just not having a good season.
No, something needs to be really looked at there, and I think after the season, some major changes will happen. So,
which kind of leads right into MSU basketball because
they're
not doing that great either.
Yeah, they're a fringe. They're kind of a fringe tournament team. I think at this point they're still projected to be in. They're 17-11 overall, 9-8 in the Big Ten, which I think is sixth. They've lost 2 in a row, but they do have a big showdown with number 2 Purdue on Saturday. That's, I don't know if is that a must-win game, maybe, but I
think they all kind of have to be to keep that spot in the tournament.
And then they probably need to do well in the Big Ten tourney. But
it's another year of double-digit losses.
Yeah,
for something we're not used to with Michigan State basketball. Michigan, maybe they're not known as the basketball, but Michigan State,
for sure, I agree, 100%. 100%.
Which also leads to, do you think it's time for Izzo to hang it up? He's not going to get fired. We already know that. He gets to go out on his own terms, which I think is great. But do you think it's time for him to hang it up, or do you think he's still got it in him?
This situation with him kind of resembles a lot of how D'Antonio left with the MSU football team. In my opinion, I could see him at some point like, listen, I just can't do this anymore. You know what I mean? It's what these guys do on a daily basis. It's got to be a grind, and there's going to come a point where it just seems like, I can't do this anymore. They're not having the success, and then maybe he just looks at it like, you know what? It's time to hang it up. But you're right. He's not going to get fired. You know what I mean?
They gave him a lifetime contract to stay there.
Maybe they have a discussion behind the scenes, and there is a little bit of friction, but then they eventually agree to part, or not really. It's not part ways. That's the wrong. It's just like, okay,
I'm going to retire. I'll help you guys find somebody to come in.
Exactly.
I mean, they haven't been in a Final Four since 2019.
Yeah.
Which I was at the game.
Were you?
To go, not the Final Four game, but I was at the Elite Eight game for them to go to the Final Four when they beat Duke. That was an experience. That was fun. That was down in D.C. My cousin that lives down in Virginia, he got tickets from somebody, and I drove down there, and we went to the game, and that was awesome. So
that's cool.
I would like to see MSU back, at the top.
Yeah.
I know Izzo doesn't want to retire on a bad note, but at the same,
that's probably what it is. He wants.
But how long do you let your legacy kind of fall off if you're going to continue to be? But you know what I mean. You don't want to go a couple more years, and now you're missing the tournament, and you got to retire. Like, I don't think like he's going to get a national championship to walk away from, but.
Yeah, he probably wanted
go out
to
on a high note.
Yeah, he wanted to bring MSU back to the elite relevancy, and it's just not working out. And the Big Ten's tough. It's a big time conference, and then you're adding more teams next year, and it's only going to get harder. And we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
So that's our Around the D segment. There's not going to go into any of the other college sports or anything, but that's everything that's happening right now. We did ask people last week for some more comments. We're kind of going down memory lane this week.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is going to be fun. So we asked the audience to tell us what your favorite Detroit area championship team, so college or pro.
Yeah, in your lifetime.
Yes. You had to be.
I picked the 57 Lions. No, does that not count? I was talking to my dad, and I told him, I was like, you gotta go on and put a comment, and he's like, I'm not sure. I was like, put the 57 Lions. You were like 3 years old.
So yeah, I'm gonna pick the 84 Bears or 85 Bears, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So that we did get some good responses, and I will say,
there's a theme here.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought for sure the 84 Tigers were going to be.
I thought it was going to take the cake.
Yeah,
I really thought everybody was putting 84 Tigers.
And then once everybody started describing their reasoning for picking the teams that they did, I'm like, okay, no, that totally makes sense. And let's just get right into it. You want to start us off?
Yeah. Okay. So the first one comes from our listener Lori. She said, mine was between the Bad Boys Pistons and the Stanley Cup champion Red Wings in 97-98. We had so much fun watching the Pistons team, Thomas, Dumars, Rodman, Sally, and the hate other fan bases felt for Lambier. He pissed so many people off.
That's awesome.
However, Lori decided she's going to go with the Red Wings. We were such a huge hockey fan at the time, and watching them climb their way up each year was very rewarding.
Yep.
Plus, the rivalry with the Avalanche was really fun. There were so many great players on the Wings, Yzerman, Shanahan. We even named our dog after him. That's awesome.
Nice.
I understand that. I named my dog after Al Kaline.
Yep. 100%.
Lindstrom, Fedorov, those are just to name a few, and her favorite player, Konstantinov. After the accident in 97 where Konstantinov was seriously injured, it was so inspiring to watch the team repeat the following season. I just love everything about the Red Wings during that time. We even went down for the parade in 98. It was really sad what happened to those guys, but I completely understand what she's saying.
Yep.
How inspiring it was. They came back and they won it for Konstantinov, and seeing him on the ice after that championship was emotional, right?
Yeah. 100%. And the thing is with that, the back-to-back Wings teams of 97 and 98, those teams were physical. They outworked you, and that's kind of a theme with championship Detroit teams. You know what I mean? They are just going to outwork you, outgrind you, and that's what they embodied.
They were brutal. They had some players out there that were on the ice to hurt you.
Yes, Konstantinov was a badass. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He was a badass, and that's what he was out there to do. That 97 team, he was out there to wreak havoc and do whatever he needed to do. They had McCarty, all those guys. It was a fun time. Such an awesome team.
We were still young at the time, but I do remember those
for sure
the back-to-back years. I remember my cousin and I. Sorry, not to get off track.
No.
We're going down memory lane. I got stories popping up in my head.
That's what this is about.
We were making a Stanley Cup. We made it out of a trash can and tinfoil and carried it around the house. I'm like,
awesome.
What, 97? I'm 12 years old. My cousin's 10 years old.
Yeah.
Carrying it around the house. Our parents are watching the game going crazy. It was so much fun.
That's what it's about, man.
Yeah.
And then every other vehicle at the time had one of those flags.
The flags.
The car flags. I'm like, Dad, we got to get one.
Yeah.
We got to get one. And so that was an awesome team. Like you said, we were young, so I don't know if we truly maybe understood the emotion of it. You know what I mean? Just being as young as we are, because maybe if we were born 10 years earlier, maybe we might have felt the same.
Yeah.
But those teams were special.
I remember we were cheering and we were celebrating the championship, but it had to have been different for people that are just a couple years older or whatever, that really just how we feel now,
right,
with what our teams have accomplished.
Yep, for sure. All right, so our next listener, Brian, he says, as exciting as the 84 World Series was, they didn't create a dynasty. It was a one-season team. So mine is between the 89-90 Pistons, the Bad Boy Pistons, and the 97-98 Red Wings. The Pistons worked hard to get there by beating Boston, Chicago, and L.A. I enjoyed their defensive style of basketball and how everyone hated Lambier and Isaiah Thomas. The Wings started as a more physical team and then built into a finesse team with the Russian Five. Scotty Bowman was the coach to get them there, and like the Pistons, they had to keep stepping up to the next level by beating their rivals. They built a dynasty. And, that's funny about the the Pistons and the Wings of those eras, they really had to, like, they got really close, and then they had to keep grinding to get past that hump. They would get to their conference finals, or the Wings made the finals and winner got swept. And then the same with the Pistons. The Pistons had to go through.
Well, they were there. They were trying to get through Jordan.
Yeah,
they were there in '88. They just didn't make it. They didn't get over the hump to get to the finals.
They had to get through. Hold on. They had to get through. Bird, right? Mm-hmm. Larry Bird. Magic Johnson was playing during that time. Then you said Michael Jordan. I mean, these are literally. I mean, if you're creating a Mount Rushmore, those guys are on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Pistons had to get through that. So that's. I totally agree. It's just they really had to battle to get over that hump. Both the teams did. Both those. And I think that really shaped them.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely did.
Yep. So.
All right, what we got from Matthew. The 0-2 Red Wings. They had such an insane amount of talent and Hall of Fame players. Might be the greatest NHL team of all time, and I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
I mean, the players we had on there were absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, dude, I just glanced at the roster yesterday, and I counted. I mean, don't hold me to this, but I think 9 to 10 Hall of Famers. I don't even know if All-Star teams normally have that many. You know what I mean? Like they had.
We were an All-Star team. It was an All-Star team in 0-2.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, literally, it's just like if you could go and living or not, you could just pick players. You're like, okay, I'll take him. I'll take. You know what I mean? And that team was insane. But like you said, it's probably the greatest NHL hockey team of all time. So. All right, listener Dan, he says the late 90s and the early 2000s Wings 100%, and you know, can't disagree.
More Red Wings.
Yeah, more Red Wings.
More Red Wings. Yeah. That's kind of the theme here.
The theme, yeah.
We got one more here from Corey. Bad Boy Pistons and the 97-98 Wings team. See a trend here.
Yeah, seriously.
It was an amazing ride to watch the team build up to their championship caliber. I was a little young for the 84 Motor City Kitties.
Yep.
But they did have a huge following as well. Mm-hmm. I knew folks who traveled to their games similar to what the Lions had this year. Yeah, Lions fans traveled everywhere this year.
That was cool.
Back to the Bad Boys and the Wings. The way those teams were built and how they had to get over the hump to win their trophies was amazing, and the whole state was behind them.
Yeah.
When they won, you felt like you accomplished something also. Very exciting. That's what he said there, when it makes you feel like you accomplished something. That is so true when your team goes on and win a championship. You follow them all year long. Mm-hmm. You ride it out through the playoffs.
Yep.
You feel like you almost want a ring to go with it.
I think that's totally
the fans
fine
are a huge part of the game.
For sure.
Yeah, you may not suit up and play, but
you can claim it. You know what I mean?
That's why people say our team,
right?
My team, or we, because the fans in the city get involved.
There's a lot of emotion behind it because that all starts from watching the games with your dad.
Exactly.
Watching the games with your grandpa. Going to the games with your dads. You know what I mean? And you're investing time and energy and emotion into this stuff, and it's just not a sport sometimes. It really isn't.
You can't just see your team win a championship or lose a championship and just, okay, next.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. It's especially your local team.
Exactly.
So
thank you, listeners, for all the comments. And we love reading this, and we'll have more every week of different topics that we want you guys to join in on.
Yep. And real quick, before we just to kind of give the Wings a little bit more love with that too, just the Wings' dominance during the 90s and 2000s, so from 1990 to 2010, 20 years, 6 conference championships, 13 division championships, 6 President's Trophies, and 4 Stanley Cups. I mean, wow.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's amazing. So,
God, they were fun to watch.
Yep.
And I just want to talk about this was before we're gonna get into our favorite championship teams.
Yep.
Again, I was doing some digging, and we were kind of spoiled as fans from 2000 to 2010.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people know this, and maybe they don't because we didn't win a lot of championships, but we were there. And by what I mean by spoiled is we were either the Final Four in any of the sports, or the final two in the championships.
Yep.
So I kind of want to go through. So like starting in 2000, we had MSU. They won their national championship.
Yep. In basketball, where there's some love for Izzo.
In 01-02, the Red Wings won the cup.
Yep.
Possibly the greatest hockey team ever assembled.
Yep.
MSU went to the Final Four.
Yeah.
They didn't win, but they're in the Final Four.
That's
02-03, Detroit Pistons went to the conference finals. Final four of the teams, right?
Yep.
03-04, Pistons win the championship.
Yep.
04-05, Pistons lose in the finals. They went back-to-back, but lost. MSU to the Final Four.
Yep.
Then you
got the Pistons. Hold on, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off. You remember that Pistons team?
Why would they leave Robert Horry open on the three-point line? Come on!
They should have been back-to-back. That was so close because I think they went 7 games because they had to go and win in San Antonio, which San Antonio that year, I think, lost 3 games all year. And then the Pistons went into San Antonio in game 6 and won. Tied it at 3-3.
Yeah.
Last games in San Antonio, and I think the Pistons only lost a game by 7 points or something like that.
Yeah.
That was awesome. You still got to give them love. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No, you're good. You're good. Then we had in 05-06, Pistons losing the conference finals.
Yeah.
Again, Final Four team.
Yeah.
Tigers went to the World Series that year.
Ugh.
Unfortunately, we know how that ended.
Yeah, we still got to celebrate it. It's still good.
06-07, Pistons and Red Wings both losing the conference finals.
Yep.
07-08, Pistons losing the conference finals. Wings get another cup.
Yep.
They win the championship that year.
That was the last one.
08-09, Wings lose the cup.
Yeah.
They went back-to-back, lost to Pittsburgh.
Again,
I remember kind of just like the Pistons before.
Yep.
It's like, all right.
Yep.
And then MSU made it. MSU. I'm reading too fast. MSU loses in the national championship in basketball. So, again, they were there. And then in 09-10, MSU back to the Final Four. So, we only got, 4 championships out of that decade? But fact that we were the Final Four team or the Final 2 teams in every single one of those years is something to be proud of.
Right.
To be a fan and know every year that your team is going deep in the playoffs.
One of your teams,
if not to the championship.
You take it for granted. You definitely.
We were spoiled.
Yeah, we were.
Because we are in a very dark time.
Because now look at from 2010 to current day.
You had the Tigers in 12. They lose the World Series.
Yeah.
You had a couple good deep playoff runs, but that was it. I mean, nothing from the Lions, nothing from the Wings again.
I guess you could say, okay, so 2010 to 2020, there was really nothing, right? Nothing.
Well, you had 2010. That
was the Wings. I'm sorry, the Tigers. Tigers made it, and the Tigers made the playoffs.
But that was it. That was one. But when you look at that 2000 to 2010, I don't think people actually realize a lot of that because we lost a lot of them, right? And nobody remembers the losers. But to be a fan at that time was phenomenal. It was so much fun.
You're still watching deep playoff competitive sports, which you can't, that's awesome.
All right, so let's hear. All right, we got to talk about our favorite championship teams of our lifetime. So you want to go ahead? You want to go first?
Sure, I'll start it off. Yeah, so my favorite, and I struggle with this one. I give this one a lot of thought, and I bounced around a lot. And the thing is, like with the Wings, I don't have a lot of memory of that anymore. So recency bias is going to get me here, but I'm going with the 2023 Michigan football team.
So like yesterday.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like a goldfish, Mike. My memory ain't shit anymore.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick.
And you know what? This might have been a slam dunk if it wasn't for the sign stealing stuff that was lingering over. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I watched the games and I was into the team this year, that was lingering a little bit. You know what I mean?
It hurts. It does hurt a little bit
for sure, and
especially for how good of a team Michigan was.
For sure, 100%. And for one, never would have thought that Michigan was going to win a national championship. I just never ever thought that they were ever on that level. So to see them do it, amazing. You know what I mean? I'm a huge Michigan football fan, probably number one as far as my sports love or whatever. And that was amazing to see them beat Ohio State 3 times in a row. And it kind of goes to our audience when they kind of use the reasoning of the dynasty and obviously Michigan didn't win 3 national championships in a row, but they did win 3 Big Ten titles in a row, and they did beat Ohio State 3 times in a row, getting over that hump in 2021.
Well, that's huge in college football, right?
Yes.
Especially
rivalries.
Here in Michigan, beating Ohio State. I mean,
yes, 100%.
that is an accomplishment.
That's almost like winning, your league title or whatever, and just beating Ohio State alone. And I just never ever thought Michigan was going to beat those guys again. And to see him do it in 2021, led by Hutch, who's also helping resurge the Lions. Is that right? Helping rebuild the Lions.
He's doing good things for the Lions.
Yeah, he's doing great things for the Lions, all right? Deal with it. But no, so, that was, he helped build the foundation to that team to win the national championship this current year, and he's helping do that with the Lions as well. So, yeah,
it was a fun night, too.
It was,
we were together, yeah.
I was just going to say, too, I think the reason why it put me over the edge to pick this team was because I did get to watch the national championship with you, Mikey, Merlo, Miles, my uncles. We were at a place together. Like, that was just really cool.
The atmosphere was pretty exciting to be there, and
sometimes that's all it takes. You know what I mean? And I even think back to like the start of the Jim Harbaugh era when you and I watched Trouble with the Snap. Remember that?
Oh,
game?
yeah.
That year, after that game or after that play, Jim Harbaugh's soul left his body. He was dead.
He did.
He was dead. You know what I mean? And he came back and led this team to a national title. So that's pretty awesome. The group of players, they're just a gritty group. It just kind of reflects the 04 Pistons, the 97-98 Wings. Michigan was gritty. You know what I memean? They didn't beat you like the 2019 LSU team where they would, Joe Burrow's throwing 50 touchdowns in a year and just lighting you up. They were like a boa constrictor. They just took the life out of you, and they did that to Bama. They did that to Washington. They did that to Ohio State. They just found ways, and
they were a hell of a team this year.
They were, and it's what was weird. And I'll finish this thought real quick, and I'll let you carry on. But it was just weird that it was going on right when the Lions, same exact timing when the Lions were doing their thing too. And you know what? I'm gonna couple them together and say like that helped build this case because.
Absolutely.
Watching both of those teams kind of kill these demons was truly awesome, and to watch those games with friends and family, I think was the key. One thing I gotta add, Luke, my 2-year-old has not witnessed a Ohio State beaten Michigan game since, so. Maybe
he's also seen just as many playoff wins as we have for the Lions.
That is true. That is true. He's a good luck charm.
Yeah. Oh, he's starting off on the right foot.
Yes. So thank you for letting me kind of go off on a tangent there and getting a little bit deep into it. So
I love
I'm anxious
that.
to hear your.
I love that. So my favorite team, championship team of my lifetime, I'm going with the. Going to work Pistons. Where's that horn at? Let me get that horn.
Detroit basketball.
That time was just. I was really into basketball. I mean, I still like basketball, but back to what I said at the beginning, you're gonna put a garbage product out there. Mm-hmm. It's not really that much fun to watch, especially when you don't see them going anywhere. But in 04, this team was so much fun to watch. I was 04 or so. I was 19 years old, right? So really appreciating sports at the time, really coming into understanding everything and following them all season long. It was so much fun. And watching that series against the Lakers where we had no chance of winning from what everybody... I even went into it thinking, well, at least we made it to the finals. Right? You're going up with Kobe, Shaq, right? We weren't coming out of that.
Yeah.
We lose. We go in. We win game 1 on the road. And I'm not going to break down every game, but I remember this, right? Then we win game 2, and then at that time, the series went 2-3-2 format.
Oh,
and at that time, no team had ever went home and won those 3 games in a row.
Okay.
Pistons did it. Won all 3 of our games. Beat them in 5.
Yep.
It
Five-game
was
sweep.
5-game sweep. That's what we call the 5-game sweep.
Yep.
It's absolutely phenomenal. But there were so many memories that went with that. Not only did we did that, I was at my parents' house at the time, and it was just my cousin and I and another buddy. And we watched the game, that game 5. We won the championship, and this is kind of old school, but we were like, let's go out, right? We're not 21. We're not drinking or anything. We're going to go cruise Gratiot. That's what we decided to do. I had my little S10.
Total Michigan thing to do.
Total Michigan.
Southeast Michigan thing to do.
That was a huge thing back in the day. I don't even know if kids still go out and cruise Gratiot. I don't even know if cruising's a thing anymore. It wasn't even really a thing when
I
we
think
were.
all they do is cruise TikTok now.
Yeah, what am I thinking? They're actually going out.
Right.
So anyways, we hop in my truck, single cab S10, right? We're all piled in. We drive down. We get to about 16 miles, and it's packed. It's a parking lot.
Awesome.
People are hooting and hollering all over the place. The horn on my car eventually just died because everyone's honking their horn. I have random people jumping in the back seat of or in the bed of the truck.
Yeah.
My buddy hopped out. My cousin was hanging out the window. The cops were super cool. They let everybody party, right? Or I'm assuming people were down there drinking.
Oh, for
we
sure.
weren't, because we weren't even old enough to yet. But we were having a good time. We were just partying all up and down Gratiot, right?
That's awesome.
Cruising down Gratiot. There was this guy was walking around with bottle rockets, just shooting them out of his hand.
Yeah, that sounds safe.
Hands my cousin a bottle rocket, goes to shoot it off. It's pointing inside the car.
Oh, wow.
It's the wrong way. It's the wrong way.
Oh, Jesus.
Everyone's so excited. We don't even know what we're doing. But it was such a fun night.
Yeah.
I didn't go to the parade, but we went to, I guess you call it a pep rally at the Palace.
Okay.
They had, Larry Brown up there and all the players come out and talk, and that was cool. So we skipped the parade, but we went up there.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that watching on TV.
So the 04 Pistons, it's just, I followed them all year long. It's a core memory of exactly what happened, especially going out that night and really absorbing everything that happened when we won, and it brings so many good feelings.
Well, you know what? As far as I remember that one really well too, and that was my second choice because like that team was special, and that was another one of those teams that just like they just wore you down. They outworked you. You know what I mean? They just outworked you, and everybody on that team played defense.
I was just going to bring it up. It was a defensive time in the NBA, and now these teams are scoring 120 plus points.
Yeah.
The Pistons went, and I don't remember what the streak was, but they went on a streak where they stopped teams from scoring 7. They were 70 points or less.
Oh wow!
During that season, there was a stretch where teams couldn't even get over 70 points. I mean, it was a different era. But yeah, 04 Pistons definitely my favorite. That's what I got to go with.
Yep, I'll never forget. Like I remember Sal and I, or the other cuz, we were talking, and we were just pretty much like, yeah, we just gave the Pistons no chance, and that's kind of sad to think now because they just went in and the Lakers did not know what hit them. You know what I mean? They were just completely. They had Shaq, they had Karl Malone, they had Kobe. Was it Rick Fox? They had Gary Payton.
Yep.
A lot of those guys were older, but still, I mean, they just went in and
we didn't need all those all-stars. We were a fine-tuned team with those 5 guys out there.
Yep.
And our bench was great.
Oh, the bench was great. Lindsey Hunter, Mike James, Mehmet Okur. They were.
It just was the year that everything came together.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was totally agree. There was one last thing I was going to say about that was 04 Pistons, and I can't even remember now. Oh, whatever.
That's all right.
Yeah. No. Okay. Remember from that season too, during the playoffs too, the block. Remember the
Tayshaun on Reggie Miller.
Yes. Or how about Chauncey hitting that shot? Was that to? Remember he hit that half-court shot?
The half-court shot.
Yeah.
They went to like double or triple overtime
against the Nets. They couldn't. Yeah, the Nets.
They ended up. The Pistons lost that game.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
They lost that game. But he hit that half-court shot.
Yeah. So that season or that playoff season had a lot of those moments, and awesome season. Totally agree.
This was a lot of fun today.
Yeah,
going down memory lane was fun.
Yeah, I agree. We'll have to do more of these, and
we'll keep getting the listeners involved. This was a lot of fun. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up now.
Yep.
For this episode, but Yeah, God, I just have so many memories flooding to my head right now.
I know.
I could go on for
emotions.
another hour talking about this. This was a lot of fun.
It was.
We appreciate everybody listening and commenting on our questions. We're going to continue to post these, so please get involved. Make sure you like and follow us on whatever platform we're on.
Yep. At some point, we'll get video going, and just continue to support and give us some feedback. We really appreciate it, and I think that's about it.
All right, that's another episode for Mike's on the Mics. Go Detroit!
Yep.
Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.